What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to the Crash Bang Boom podcast. Today's guest is drummer, producer, and engineer Mike Albanese. I was able to catch up with Mike during his tour with Cinemechanica, who is fresh off the new release of their self-titled full-length record, which was recorded at God City Studios with Kurt Ballou of Converge. In addition to drumming in Cinemechanica, Mike can be seen with instrumental psych dance outfit Maserati, as well as Bit Brigade, which is a live band that recreates video game soundtracks in real time while a master gamer speed trials through each level. Some crazy shit, right? All right, so here we go. Crash, bang, boom! I'm sitting here with my man Mike Albanese, presently with Cinemechanica and many other projects. We'll get to all that stuff. We're in the basement down here in St. Vitus, which I've done before, so if you hear some industrial ambiance, you know that it's the ice machine or whatever. I don't know what that machine is. What the fuck does that thing do?
It looks like something you'd use to like sandblast something.
Yeah. I'm not sure what the bar application is for that, but whatever. It looks cool, and it will certainly provide some, as said, industrial ambience.
It's doing its job.
That's right. Whatever it is, it's doing it.
Doing a hell of a job.
It's doing a hell of a job, whatever that fucking job is. It's cool to sit down with you. I appreciate the time, man. You're amidst a little Cinemechanica run here.
That's right.
What? How many shows are you doing, and where does this fit into all those shows?
We're doing 14 in 14 days. And
nice.
This is right in the middle. We've been super pumped to play St. Vitus. We were shuffling dates around to make sure that we got here, because we've played a bit in New York, but not in quite a long time, and I don't feel like we've maybe ever with this project played a appropriately sized and PA'd room. Plus, we're like a lot louder and a lot heavier now than we used to be. So we've had some awesome shows at like Cake Shop and stuff like that. But I'm kind of pumped to play like a loud rock venue.
Goddamn right. You're gonna hear that bass drum tonight, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like dude, full range monitor with a sub. Like, give it to me every night. I'm an old man. I need all the help I can get at this point.
It's hard to explain to non-drummers, but to play a loud show where you can't have a sense of your bass drum, you don't really hear it. Especially in this kind of music when you're doing absolutely
technical triplets and shit like that.
That and just if you have any sort of sense of just like pocket playing at all,
right?
It's not jazz. Dude, it's not from the top bottom. It's bottom up. So
that is something that's podcast worthy. Is like the crazy like psychedelic headspace you get in when you're, because like one of my big, like if I had drumming tenets or whatever, one of my big like mantras is like power management, which is sort of like don't throw too much at a part that just because of your environment, because of the arrangement, because of whatever, say I've got 4,000 calories to before I die,
right.
Before I literally die. I don't want to spend 100 of those on this roll that because I'm playing a house show, literally no one will, they'll just see my hands moving and they'll be like, whoa, that guy's hands are moving so fast, but like nothing will move them or musically or otherwise,
right.
Because I'm burning all these calories to get this roll out for like literally nothing. So sometimes I'll try and think like, oh, well, this, this tom fill or whatever, this part is really bombastic, and I know my toms don't project as well as my snare, so I'm going to save a little bit of gas on this roll so I can like really give it to this toms because it's going to pay off more. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like a better investment of my energy.
It is. That is an efficient, ergonomic. Everything about that makes total sense.
But it's like a mind game when you're in it, because when you're writing it, every single part you're like, oh shit, here comes the roll.
Right.
Oh, eat it. And then the next part you're like, oh shit, here comes the toms. Eat this too. And then you go to play 40 or 50 of those parts in a row in a 40-minute set. It's like there's human limitations to that shit.
That's interesting you say that, man, because I'm 40. I've been playing for 25 years at kit, just the drum kit for 25 years, and I only recently sort of started to think a little bit about that, like what you're mentioning,
Okay, check this out, right? I don't mean to I'm not
go for it.
It's your podcast.
Nah, man, this is yours. This is your podcast.
Think about this, right? So do you know much about molar stroke?
Yes.
Okay. I am like I got so okay. First of all, I took lessons from this dude, Joe Bergamini.
Well, we were gonna go there anyway. So
Back
just
in
go.
the day,
Yeah.
ages ago. And Joe's like the raddest dude ever. Joe's a monster, dude. Joe's like did what's the Billy Joel musical? Stepping Out.
Oh yeah, I think
He's
so.
like been the pit guy in that movie musical forever. He's did
wow.
Jersey Boys. Like Joe is like a major heavy hitter at Hudson Music. Like Joe's
Wow.
just crushing it. You know what I mean? So,
Where did you run across him?
at a totally regular old Richie's Music Center in Rockaway, New Jersey, where Chris Penny used to go.
No way.
And I would go in there.
Did
and
Chris Penny study with him?
Chris Penny went to my high school, homie.
Come on,
no, he didn't
dude.
study with him though. He was just Chris Penny was a dude that like. Okay, he's probably like maybe 3 years older than me, and I started drums when I was like 15. So I'd be
Same
in the
here.
music store, and I'd be like, "Oh, what's this like Sabian B8, man? Should I get the B8 Pro or whatever?" And they had like all these cymbals out there, and I'd be hitting it, and like the dude would come to me and be like, "Yo, man, you know who just hit that cymbal? You know who's just here? Chris Penny was just here." And this is like long before he was in Dillinger Escape Plan.
Yeah,
I think he was in a band called Astral.
yeah. Okay.
You back to that VFW scene. So.
Oh shit.
But they would like talk about him in like hushed tones and be like, "Oh, dude, Chris Penny was just here, dude. He was just shredding blast beats in the." This is like when blast beats like were becoming a thing, you know?
Right.
It's like, "Oh, he was just shredding blast beats in the cymbal room, dude. It's amazing." Because even like when he was like 19, he was like a freak of nature level.
110%.
Yeah, totally. So, make a long story short, Joe, you know, Richie's Music Center, this like hilarious little like nowhere but kind of awesome music store. We're all like, it's like a little mini community of drummers. Joe is like totally boys with Dom Famigliaro, the ambassador of drums, or ambassador of drum education. So Joe like has kind of like risen up the ranks or whatever, and now is like this major badass educator. But what's super cool is that even my dumb like Jocko high school, not at all listening to cool music at all self, he took seriously as a drummer, you know, even though I was utterly not to be taken seriously in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And he was like, he taught me the free stroke, which is
cool.
like the foundation of Moeller. He taught me all these like things that kind of like stuck in my brain, and then I was like, yeah, but Smashing Pumpkins, you know, but yeah.
And props
you know.
to Jimmy Chamberlain. Jimmy Chamberlain's a bad motherfucker.
No, I mean like, dude, instrumental. Like everybody,
Yeah.
everybody who's I'm 37. Everybody who's 37 who plays drums, like at some point shredded some pumpkins.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
But Joe would be like, you know, like, oh, that's really cool, but you know, you realize he's like using a lot of technique to accomplish this shit.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah. And then like, you know, you fast forward till you're 23, 24, and you're like trying to accomplish something that's way beyond your ability at that point, and you start being like, what did that dude tell me about? Like, why is my hand creeping up?
Right. Yeah.
I'm sure there was something. So I went back and I reinvested in Moeller, watching videos. I'd actually watched this video of Jim Chapin and
Oh wow, yeah.
there's a just perfect video of Chapin and Dom Famigliaro doing Moeller.
Oh wow.
And so you're watching this dude, and he's like late 70s. You
Wow.
know, he's ancient at this
Yeah.
point. And Dom's like, yo, Jim, give him some doubles or whatever. It wasn't doubles; it was all single strokes. He's just like, give him some blah 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 16s. Chapin starts ripping it, and you're like, whoa, like. For an older dude, this dude's like stick height is super high, and he's like crushing it. He's like, yo, give him some triplets. All of a sudden, like this like dude who's like obviously grandpa mode is blasting, you know,
It's technique.
blasting
Power
triplets,
of technique,
like,
man.
And his hands are like wide open, you know, just complete
Super
claw
loose.
grip, super loose, but like tons of volume. And I was like, okay, like this is gonna accomplish my ability to play this mathy sustained 16 tom thing, right? But in the long run, this is going to let me do this band as I get older, which is sort of what I'm facing now. Which just comes back to my whole little jam is that philosophy of Moeller stroke, right? Of like use the rebound to give you all the energy back.
Of course.
So that, well, what I took that as, because I'm like sports drum, sports, like
Yeah.
it's not like, okay, well, cool, now I can work half as hard and get the same return. I've always seen it as, well, I can work just as hard and get twice the return. See what, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
The difference. It's like, I don't want to sit there and be able to play really, really heavy music and look, oh, this is great. I'm having such a good time playing this.
Right.
Oh, you want to see this blast beat? Watch this. Oh, yeah, there it is. That ain't me. So if you give me the keys to go 200% more efficiently, I'm going to go 200% more efficiently as opposed to play it 50% easier on me. You know what I'm saying? So that opened me up to being able to reach a lot farther. So that crazy like power management of an actual set of songs that you've now sit down and you've min-maxed every single freaking part of this to the where every part kills you. And now you got to be like, holy shit, like I got to do 9 of these in a row and I don't want to like be hitting the 6th song that has this really amazing dynamic thing that I get to the top of the dynamics and my hands I have 2 baseball bats. And
exactly.
I have no finesse, right? So it's like, the idea is like, okay, molar, you get this big return, right? And then you get more energy to work with. What I try and do now is don't turn my energy into something worthless. Like the same philosophy, like by not playing that roll section as literally as loud as I can for a 2% benefit, I'll play it comfortably loud as hell, but then I'll save that like super squeeze, the like I'm gonna just hit this as hard as I can as a human being for something that gives me a 100% return. Some tom part that like in this house show environment just would never translate, because it's me and because I have some muscle on me and because I've been thinking about this, I'm ready for it, and I'm just gonna freaking hit it so much harder than you're expecting that just hearing the sound off the drums, you're gonna be like, this dude's crazy. Then dudes come up to me afterwards, they're like, oh, you hit so hard, I can't believe how hard you hit. And meanwhile, in the back of my head, I'm like, I hit hard for like 7 parts of the set, and those were just the 7 parts that made the biggest impact on you. And it's not like I'm trying to relax. I'm trying to play the drums hard the whole time, because it's part of the sound. Like I just like hitters, man. I've always liked hitters. I love the dude from Hum, Brian St. Pierre.
No doubt.
I mean, I can go on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
And on.
Well, if you grew up in the 90s.
Noah from Disappears, I got to give him a shout out.
Oh, okay.
Shout out, do you know him?
No, I don't think so.
Noah's in Disappears and Electric Hawk. He's a fucking slammer. All my favorite drummers have always been hitters, but like intelligently. Not just hit as hard as I can until I'm dead and then suck at the drums, which, I have played some shows that would be the through line of my performance. And I'm hoping I'm not going to like jinx myself and do it to myself. I did it in DC because like I think I got nervous because like there were some dudes out from bands that like I've always liked, and and I totally feel like I just was like, I'm gonna give it to you.
Oh, you're gonna get it. You're fucking getting it tonight.
They sure did. Those first 3, they got it. And the next one, they were like, probably like, well, that's weird. Mike looks really beat. My least favorite compliment ever, and if anyone's listening, don't say this to me afterwards, is, dude, like, that was incredible, man. Like, I don't know how you made it through. You looked like you were going to die the whole time. Just like, wow, you don't realize how much that is hurting me right now. Because that's the last thing I want to convey to somebody. Oh, man, the drummer was so good. He made it through the set.
He looked exhausted the whole time. It was
amazing.
He was
good because he did not stop doing the job that I paid him to do. It was so good of him. Nobody's ever like, yo, plumber, man, you did such a good job by not just leaving the pipes all open so water pours everywhere.
Exactly. That's fucking
so
funny,
good that
man.
You didn't stop.
That's funny, man. Do you do lessons occasionally?
I teach now.
You do teach?
Yeah, well, I taught for a long time. I taught for about 6 years, maybe. I guess that's not a long time, but it was long enough. I taught the Athens School of Music.
Okay.
A scrappy, totally rad music school taught by. It's kind of like, I'd say it's oriented towards Athens. Athens has a lot of crazy positives and minuses as far as the scene goes. But one thing you cannot dispute versus, say, growing up in New Jersey is there's like unbelievable infrastructure. So I have like one student, like this, now young lady who I started with when she was like 9 years old, straight up. And her parents are both vets. They're just like rad people. And so like the music school became a magnet, I feel like, for all these like you follow your dreams kind of parents that have like a little bit of money to help facilitate it, but the school was very reasonable still. And then there's like this place called Nucci Space that has all these resources for kids, and they do all this like rock, Camp Amped and rock, there's like so much resources. If you're a kid and you can't find kids to play with in Athens, you're not trying hard enough.
Really?
Because like we had to I'm not saying like, back in the day when we were, but we were in a town that there was one band. And we had nobody to model ourselves after. There was no venue. The venue was like one of those pay-to-play scumbag.
This is early Athens?
This is early New Jersey.
Early New Jersey, gotcha.
Yeah, saying like in the Morristown, Rockaway area. It was like you had to take the tickets to school and sell them. Right. You sell them for $10, and you give the promoter, the guy, the skeezy guy who looks like the neighbor on like Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Yeah, no, right.
Carl. You give Carl $8 of your $10 ticket.
That's hilarious.
And so what's rad is that Athens, like, there's just no need for any of that. Like, kids are in bands, and they're like 16-year-old kids opening up for the Drive-By Truckers.
Wow.
Because the truckers will grab the best camp band every year and have them open one day of their 3-day run. So these
That's
kids
super
are like,
cool.
And then kids are like going, even if it's not the kids, like their parents are going to the show and being like, oh my God, like, this is so rad. Like, these kids are actually good because they're in camp every year. They're taking private lessons at the music school that we're working at. Like, it's just a cool.
That's interesting.
Community. And then they get out of college and they start crappy hippie flip-flop neon sandal bands, and we shoo them away.
Right.
We shoo them off to Nashville or New York.
That's hilarious, man. That's good stuff. Let me see. So I guess since we're talking about Athens, at which point did you end up there, and what brought you there?
Oh, Brian,
once again, what's the connection again there?
Brian and I went to school at Wake Forest. And
Brian being the...
Bryant, back there. Hey, Bryant.
Hey, man.
Say hello. And I think like both of us were maybe in the back of our mind kind of already given over to the fact that we were going to go there and that was going to be an awesome opportunity to play music, but we were, I hadn't really like thought about the logistics of what my life would be like if I was a drummer as a job. And we went to this place that was, 80% just assholes.
Really?
Straight up, go on record. 80 is generous.
Really?
But the 20% that weren't
Uh-huh.
were some of the raddest people ever, because that's what happens in an I didn't know anything about Greek culture. I didn't know anything about college culture. I was so burned out by the end of high school. I was just like, okay, seems like a good idea.
You were just playing in like punk rock bands in high school and shit?
Me and the bass player were in a band, and like we were getting into recording, and it's like maybe if we had started when we were like 11 instead of 15, by the time it was time to go to college, I would have been like good enough to take it seriously and consider music like theory at least as as an angle and all that. But it came at a weird time, and it was sort of my thing. Like I was doing all this schooly, typical New Jersey dude, sporty stuff.
Yeah.
And music was like the one thing where I was like, nobody wants me to do this.
Oh,
like,
wow.
Nobody gives any shits about this, and I sucked. I mean, seriously, I before I started taking lessons or anything, like we have all these videotape recordings. Like we were everybody's first god awful 14-year-old band,
right?
And especially because we had no cool bands. We had no access. I didn't know anything about college radio. The internet didn't really exist. This is like CompuServe era.
No, I know, and it's important that you mention that.
And Joel found Drive Like Jehu anyway.
Really?
Because he saw the cover at Nobody Beats the Wiz.
Dude, that's the way it would
and
happen.
He straight bought it, and we took it home, and we were like,
whoa.
Oh, okay, like this isn't even music. Like it was like a running joke. For the first year we had it, it was like, oh, what if we wrote like a song that's like A, then B, then C, then D, then E, then A.
Right.
And then you get a little farther along, you're like, oh, like it kind of makes sense. And then you get a little farther along, you're like, this is amazing. And then you get a little farther along, you're like, everything sucks, but Drive Like Jehu.
Right.
You fast forward to like now, and it's like my favorite band of all time ever, forever. Just like it's just funny when you think about how you could even have the conclusion that Drive Like Jehu is like weird, unlistenable music.
Sure.
Just now it's like, I play it for my drum students, but I play it for my drum students with context.
We
were playing it as one of 4 CDs we randomly bought from Nobody Beats the Wiz because we had cars at 16.
Exactly.
It's like the internet gives everything context. Nobody's like discovering Drive Like Jehu in a vacuum because they bought the cover art. Into these days,
I know.
So we were a little, to our credit, we didn't exactly have the cards stacked in our favor growing up in suburban New Jersey.
I hear you, man. Well, it's funny, man. I mean, at the pre-internet, that was kind of, I mean, I would buy magazines, and I've had this discussion with so many people on this podcast.
Right, local mags, like local.
That was the
that's
whole how
thing.
You found
the Aquarian. Were you on that?
No, man.
That's Jersey, dude.
Oh, I grew up down like in southeast Louisiana, so it was a totally different thing down there.
Right.
But even if I was reading like a Hit Parade or anything or whatever magazine it was, like if there was a cover art that looked cool, I would be inclined to then go buy that record. That alone would be the gate to then go get it, which is so hard to even explain to someone who's grown up with the fucking internet.
Yeah, it makes no sense. It doesn't even make sense to me, and I experienced it.
I know. I try to think, how did that guy know about that shit?
There's no way. Like, whatever. It's too hard.
Well, let me ask you this. So I guess once you when you started studying, so that was in college.
In high school. No, I started in high school.
Oh, you did?
I did it for, I guess, on and off for 2 years.
Okay.
I'd kind of come and go. I was like real involved with sports.
Yeah.
Because that's our town was like.
What'd you play?
I played football, track, and baseball.
Really?
Because our town was like our town won 20 state championships in a row in football. In a row. Think about that. And they were undefeated for like 15 of those seasons or something. It was
Holy
ridiculous.
shit.
I mean, the town was like Friday Night Lights.
Wow.
That's what, I forget, my buddy I saw today for the first time in a long time from Jersey, he was like, once I moved away and everything, I just realized that it was like It's as if you like transplanted the Texas football town into the middle of New Jersey.
Weird.
Where it's like that's the culture. Right?
Yeah.
But in a weird way that is relevant to drumming because I get to certain parts in the set, and I have through this psychedelic, ridiculous football program that was, 8 hours a day, May through November.
Really?
Yeah, it was like really like the
Whoa,
real
that's
skis.
fucking intense.
It was no hyperbolization. That definitely opens you up to the idea that like, okay, I'm in like complete agony, but my muscles can.
You can get through it.
My muscles can do this. I've been in this spot. Same as if you were like a really, 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 really hardcore tough runner, like
yeah.
those
Oh
dudes
my
that, like,
god.
have to like do like
This
super
endurance,
physical, super cardio, then super weights, then super pain threshold stuff.
Right.
It's. I'm not saying it's that, but like I get to certain parts in the set, and I'm just like, okay, like I am physically as uncomfortable as I can be as a human being.
Sure.
And yet I have to find some way that this is still pleasurable because this is supposed to be pleasurable.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I have to be artistically engaging, and yet it's like everyone watching me run the 4th mile of a 4 mile, and I'm fat, hitting cigarettes beforehand. Like no one would pay money to watch me do lap, 16
Yeah.
of a 4 mile race, but that is basically what they are in effect watching. Except there's a song going that's contingent upon me completing that lap in a certain amount of time, and you just got to be like, well, it's gonna be as good as it's gonna be.
Oh man, there is certainly an athletic component to playing,
Our
especially
band, this band especially is ridiculous.
I hear you.
Maserati has an athletic component in that it's like, it's sort of got this like, never exert. Like, that we were talking about the power up and down.
Yeah, exactly.
Maserati is like only on the Jerry Fuchs-esque. Only
Right.
then bring your power up. Every
Yeah.
other time, just be
Solid.
in the zone. Like
Yeah.
at like 80, but powerfully. And that was his trick. Jerry Fuchs, like my man, passed away.
Yeah. For those who don't know, in a ridiculously bizarre incident where he was in an elevator that got stuck, jumped out of it at some point and got caught on his hoodie or something, and then fell, and then
super brutal in Brooklyn.
Yeah, in Brooklyn. What's crazy is I was not as familiar with Maserati, but that's definitely gonna be loud.
Wait for it. Clonk.
There it is. Noise narration by Mike Albanese on that one. Well, then there you go.
Jerry, but like Jerry's whole skis was, he would make people think he was playing harder than he was, and it was so effective. And so part of that is his arrangement, obviously.
Yeah.
Like part of that is his independence between his hand and his foot. The motherfucker's personality came out, like his exuberant personality just like kind of came through motoric, right?
Right.
It's like the strangest dichotomy that you could have like an exuberant motoric. Like they run so concurrent to each other, motoric being like krautrocky.
Yeah.
That's not there's nothing exuberant to that. Even in, say, you listen to Cluster or you listen to Ashra or any of the, old school shit that influenced that, there's no exuberance to it. If anything, it's like psychedelic warlord or driving on the Autobahn, but it's not freaking, there's no like human exuberance to it. And
Sure.
That's my man for that. And also like just the fact that he's the greatest drummer that's walked the earth, to me.
How did you end up with that gig?
I ended up with that gig because a little while after
They had recorded a record, right?
Yeah, and it's to date it's still like absolutely the most crushing Maserati record as far as like sales and reputation and stuff goes.
Yeah.
It's kind of his swan song.
Uh-huh.
And they finished it without him. He passed, and kind of after they had tracked the drums. Then a good friend of mine, Tony from Zombie, went out and did a tour, the U.S. and European tour, and then Tony had tons of obligations. Tony's crushing it. Zombie's crushing it. His Project Major is crushing it. Like, he's like opening up for one huge band after another. He just did a tour with Mogwai.
Really?
Yeah, playing solo drums, opening up for Mogwai.
What?
And then he opened up for.
Oh, is he the guy that plays the keys and plays plays drums at the same time?
I don't know. There's my buddy from Hunter from Bronze Chorus does that.
Oh, okay, that
Tony's-
might be who I'm thinking
Tony's
of.
solo stuff is much more like Blade Runner-y,
Okay.
Vangelis kind of
Cool.
synthy stuff, but he's been taking drums out for the first time. Anyhow, make a long story short, when it came time to write, they kind of needed somebody who was more around. I've always been playing shows with them, and we've kind of upbeat. Our bands have always put records out together, and I've worked on stuff for them before.
Was that Cinemechanica playing with
Cinemechanica
Maserati?
did a split with Maserati as our first release.
Okay.
Kind of like to they had been established a little more, and they had some songs left over from the Confines of Heat stuff. So we grabbed those 2 songs that weren't ever going to see the light of day, and we did 2 songs, and then we got We Versus the Shark to do 2 songs, and that was sort of like our best thing we could come up with to get our name into the world, so we could begin the process of being a band, yada yada yada. But like, it was crazy. Like all those years later, because Jerry, they also knew that I had years ago learned all of that motherfucker's parts flawlessly.
Really?
Yeah, dude, you kidding me? It's like my number one. If you're gonna adopt anybody's approach and learn somebody's approach in and out just to integrate it into your own, that guy's the greatest. Period.
Really?
Yeah, most tasteful, most powerful, most everything. John Bonham can be 2 or whatever.
Of course.
Who cares? Whatever. That guy's won by so much that everybody else is just some dude. I love the drummer from Hum, but Jerry changes dude's perspective on drums, man. Like, we're playing in Bit Brigade, the video game band that we're in. We're in this band that does a live video game, like a live NES run. Are you familiar with them?
No, I'm not, but I got to check it out.
Brian and I are in a band that basically, it's called Bit Brigade, and our buddy plays, say, Mega Man 2 all the way through, start to finish speed run, and then we play the soundtrack to Mega Man 2 in time with it.
Really?
Yeah, and it's like super rocking.
Whoa.
So we're like, could there be a more separate world than Williamsburg, rock music world? Like,
seriously,
there's nothing that is less similar.
Yeah.
And we're playing a show in Seattle, across the freaking coast, with this band Anamanaguchi. And they're, great, but they sound like chiptunes with electric guitars, but their drummer's super solid, super rad dude. And we're talking, and he comes up to me afterwards, and he's like, "You're in Maserati?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You know Jerry Fuchs?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Jerry Fuchs is the greatest living drummer who ever walked the earth." And it's like, dude, that happens to me 10 times a year.
Really?
Like, some dude, you're watching him, and you're like, "Oh, this man's good. Like, this guy's got his shit together. This is cool." It's like, not really, maybe it's not something that been on a chiptune with guitar bender lately, but
right.
You're just like, "Oh, this dude's solid. Like, that's cool." It's like, "Oh, right, left, right foot, right foot, left foot. That's interesting. Like, I know that. I know that coordination. That's cool." Like, and then you talk to him afterwards, and it just turns out they're a huge Jerry fan. Same with Noah from Disappears. Like, this band Disappears was like one of my favorite bands. Play a show with him in Switzerland, somewhere completely random. Start talking to the dude. Dude's the biggest Jerry head ever. Is going on about, this part and this part.
Interesting.
And yeah, dude, it's like a cult. Totally like a little secret cult.
Yeah, it is. When you teach, do you use...
Dude, please, you don't leave my school without knowing the doodler. It's almost a joke. I wrote an article for Modern Drummer about how I took the doodler, which is probably one of his most iconic drum beats, and I just turned it into a rudiment, and I teach it to everyone. To do like a 10-year-old kid at 32 BPM. Do-da-do-do-blah. Do. This is how your hands and feet work opposite each other.
That's awesome.
All day.
Well, let me just ask you one more thing, man. I guess with Cinemechanica, martial arts came out in 2006, I want to say.
Is that?
I think it was a decade ago.
I feel like it was... Oh, man.
Yeah. I know. So
God, it's hard to be 25 still.
So y'all put that out. There's a little break in the Fossil record there. I know that at one point y'all did. Weren't y'all doing a thing with 2 drummers?
We weren't. We did our friend Jeremy Fountain helped us out for a record, and we did a tour doing a double drum record called Rivals. We finished in 2008, and that was cool. And then we, one of our guitarists, Andy, decided he was going to go back to school, and over the process of that and just the kind of meticulousness of the way we write anyways.
Yeah.
Stuff took a long time. We wrote the record with this dude Jordan from a band that Brian had played in with, this band called Man Ray. We kind of had to work Jordan in and figure out how we work with Jordan. Then we had to do all this, hard, laborious, writing with him. And I hate when bands make their writing seem like such a chore and so pretentious. But it's like, this band just takes a fucking minute to get the shit right. Because, I'm up in Brian's business, Brian's up in my business, and we're just hashing it out, man, the way you're supposed to. And I think our rapport at this point, our ability to do that is the best it's ever been, but dude, we ain't writing 4 on the floor, GCD,
not
rock
so
jams,
much.
We're going for it to the best we can. So then Jordan left after we finished the record, because when we finished the record, it took almost 2 years to get it out. We did a lot of mixing and remixing. We finally gave it to Kurt from Converge, and he slam dunked it.
So y'all tracked this
Tracked
record
it with Kevin Ratterman
How long ago, though?
God, 2 Januaries ago.
Wow. No shit.
Yeah, no shit. And then we were really struggling to find somebody that was like both a good fit and that we wanted to work with to put it out, because we've always put everything out ourselves. And what was so rad is that after, some, let's just call them reach schools, we're like, oh, we love it, but I don't know what we can do with it right now, blah, blah, blah. We finally just ended up doing it with our friend Alyssa, who had started the label in town. And we, she had some killer resources because she's always worked for Riot Act.
Oh, cool.
Which is a PR company. And she's super killer at her job. And kind of like the holes, like whatever we were really, really sucky at, she's just awesome at. And we've been through the process so many times releasing different people's records that, I think our expectations were very realistic. And she crushed it, and we're super happy. And just glad to be on the road, glad to be playing in New York, glad to be playing shows that matter.
Glad to find you, get you all back over here.
Glad to not be playing video game music for a minute. As much as I enjoy it and as much as that gig is rewarding, I'm so stoked to be like out playing the jams that I worked my ass off on. Like we worked real hard on this record. Whether you like it or you're not going to listen to it and be like, oh, this guy's kind of phoned this one in.
Yeah.
No way. If you do, then I want to hear your band, man.
That's awesome. And how was it working with Kurt, man?
Oh, Kurt's...
Kurt Ballou of Converge fame.
Kurt is the man. He is a perfect hybrid of like a dude who he listens to enough music just habitually, that his, I would say, just kind of like base level opinion is going to be very right on. And it's like, you finish your record and you mix it and then you send it to mastering because you want a fresh set of ears on it.
Yes.
Well, like we kind of just came to the conclusion eventually of like, whose fucking ears are going to be better than his?
Did he master it as well?
No, he mixed it.
Oh, he
but
did.
I'm saying, we mixed it ourselves.
Oh, okay.
Kevin did a mix. Like we had so many different people mixing it, and in the end, like everybody in our band's an engineer. It's like so many opinions. Dude, just ship it to that dude.
Yeah.
And if he thinks the drums should be that loud, then I'll eat it.
Right.
If it comes back and I think that they're like crazily too quiet, I'll defer. Or if it comes back and you think the guitars are crazily too quiet, you defer, because this dude is not going to fuck it up.
Yeah,
and instead it came back and we were all like, holy shit, everything's awesome. And he was cool enough, like we sent it to him cold call style. Just didn't. I had no contacts with him whatsoever. Now I do. I mean, now we're like bros. But even just getting Brian in the band, like Brian's got these boys with Nick's recording with Kurt, yada yada.
Right.
We're way closer on the Kevin Bacon scale now. But I don't need that because Kurt's my boy, and I'll be up there doing the next record with him for sure.
Yeah.
That's like recording camp. That's another thing I do is I make records for a living. When I'm not touring. So why wouldn't I want to?
You engineer stuff? You work in a studio?
I've built up a studio over the years, and it's called Espresso Machine. You can come record in it.
Fucking A.
Your drums will sound really good.
Oh, I'm excited already.
Yeah, my drum rig crushes.
Nice.
I've got the real. My drum rig is sort of unapologetically based upon the conclusions I've come to. I've been making records as long as I've been playing drums. We started recording and playing at the same time. But it's not until very recently that I started to like really get specific with the sounds I like. So I got my Coles and my distance mics. It took how long to figure that out that was the sound I wanted. But when it comes time to record the next record, I wouldn't touch it with a 900-foot pole, because it's like the difference between the three of us who all engineer for money, just arguing about minutia, or the three of us can all go take the band fund that we're building up and freaking go record with the dude who is the most relevant sensibility-wise and most relevant technical-wise, because he's like that crazy fusion of scientist brain with real legit. Like, scientist brain doesn't buy 20 amplifiers. Scientist brain buys 2 amplifiers, because that's the two most logical conclusions. Kurt owns 25, 30 amplifiers, but he's still, when he goes to use them, he's approaching them from a completely scientific, like, this will be the top end, this will be the mid-range, yada, yada, yada. Like, come on, man. That's the dream, dude. That's living the dream. Plus, he hates samples. What else do you want to fucking want from me? Like,
exactly.
Come on, dude.
Absolutely. Well, cool, man. I guess one last question, a quick one. The kit that you're playing tonight is an old Fibes kit.
Yes, it is. Yes.
24, 14, 18.
24, 14, 18. That's my
nice.
That's my look.
2 inches off from Bonham, I guess. He did 14, 16, 18. I think
13, 16, 18.
Is that what
Bonham's,
he did?
I'm like 90% sure he's 26, 13, 16, 18. 14's the shit. Throw your fucking 13 in the fucking river, dude. 14 does everything a 13 does better.
Fucking A.
You can always just tune it up, man.
Right, exactly. Cool,
All right.
man. Well, thanks for talking to me, Mike.
Such a pleasure, my man.
Awesome, dude. All right, y'all. Thanks again for tuning in, and thanks to Mike for hanging with me. Get your hands on the new Cinemechanica self-titled full-length out now on either Bandcamp or iTunes. You can find all that info in the description area of this episode. And also be sure to watch out for Maserati and or Bit Brigade. Coming up now is the first track off the new record called Hang Up the Spurs. All right, y'all. Crash, bang, boom.
Drag you in.